Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Force Strategy Gaming. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing well. Today I'm going to be commentating a series of games for you between MMA and Losira. Now, this is actually coming from the MLG Columbus Grand Final. So this is the Grand Finals of that tournament. These are the last two players standing, essentially. And the series is going to be a best of 7 between the two. We're starting things off here on Taldara Malter. We can see right now MMA spawning in the bottom left as our blue Terran player, and in the upper left we do have Losira as the red Zerg. So yes, this is going to be a best of 7, the grand finals from MLG Columbus. If you guys didn't get a chance to actually watch the event, then I am happy to bring these games to you. And yeah, there was actually a lot of great games in the in that tournament. MLG Columbus was definitely a pretty entertaining watch. If you guys haven't seen it, I suggest trying to check out any VODs or you know, whatever games I may post from there as well. Definitely take a look at those. But definitely some really talented players. Now, these two players are from Korea. They were actually flown in, and they did really well, evidently, because both of them made it into the grand finals. So unfortunately, no one here from the West ended up making it into the grand finals, and that's a topic for debate as it is. But anyways, yes, we can see right now Losira going to be looking to move out with that drone scout, and I'm going to be wondering to see if he's going to go for a fast expand. I pretty much expect something along the lines of a 15 hatch, just given the sheer size of the map. Definitely can be very effective. It looks like we can see MMA going to be going for this wall off right here. I think he might be able to fit that depot in there. I'm pretty sure that is going to be enough spacing there, so we should be seeing another depot for that complete wall off over there. We can also see Refinery coming up, so it looks like pretty standard play early on here from MMA. He's going to be starting off with a one base play. May very well be going for something like Hellion Harass, given the fact that he does have this refinery up. He's clearly going to be on the route of getting that factory. Instead, we're going for something like 2 racks pressure. We can see First Marine making its way through. Orbital Command also coming out here for MMA. Taking a look back over here for Losira, we can see, of course, he did go for that quick expansion. Then he will be going gas into pool, allowing him, of course, to get that metabolic boost first. That is, of course, the advantage to going for gas before pool. Back over here, we can see MMA going to be scouting out his opponent, Losira, in just one moment. Losira finally moving across the map here with his drone. We'll be trying to move into MMA's base, but he's first going to have to walk around that Marine. He did manage to circumvent it because the Marine of MMA, or basically MMA, didn't respond quick enough in that stop shoot micro. But Losira going to be trying to save that drone here by actually turning it into extractor, eventually canceling it and trying to run away. That is his hopeful plan anyways. Back over here for Losira, we can see he does have that hatch just about finished. Right now, MMA's SCV is going to be moving out of the base. Doesn't want to stay in there too long. He knows Zerglings are going to be en route in just one moment, so he does, of course, want to get out of there before that happens. He's in his opponent's base. He saw that fast expand. He also saw the fact that that pool was out much later than that extractor, so that's going to let him know that he's going to be expecting Speedlink sometime soon as well. And looks like we are, in fact, going to be seeing Hellions from MMA, given the fact that we do have that reactor. We're going to expect that hot swap right after that and a quick expansion. So going to be opening up with some Hellions, then expanding as well. Of course, using the Hellions for early game map control. Unless your Zerg opponent happens to go for roaches, that's going to work very well for you. And that's precisely what I expect MMA is along the lines of thinking right now. So he's going to get at those Hellions. He's going to harass any Zerglings on the board. He's going to be grabbing the Zelnaga towers, and then just, yeah, that's it, maintaining map control. If we do see Losira push out, then MMA will be fully aware of it, and he'll have time to respond with bunkers and things of the sort. We can also see Tech Lab coming down over here on the barracks here for MMA, so going to start getting out some upgrades, I would expect. I'm almost going to expect Marine Tank just because it is so very effective as the general unit composition. Unless he happens to go into heavy mech, that's the other type of playstyle that you do tend to see as well. So we will have to see precisely what MMA decides to do. I know he is also a fan of medevac and dropping, basically drop harass with 8 Marines in a medevac. That can be pretty devastating. So we'll see if he incorporates that into his game in this particular game here. We can see right now MMA is going to be moving out across the map right now, right into Losira's base. He will have to contend with that Queen, but going to be bypassing it quickly, moving right on into the main right now, bypassing those Zerglings. Of course, these Hellions are going to be able to roast those Zerglings, no problem at all, especially without that metabolic boost finished. So Zerglings are going to want to be careful. Once the metabolic boost finishes, he can try to move in first around. We will have to see if he intends on doing that. No, it looks like MMA, he's going to be hightailing it out of there. knowing those Zerglings are just about finished. Splitting up those Hellions, though, trying to allow some breathing room for at least one of them, and this Hellion is going to be moving across the map. Looks like those Zerglings are working their way onto the base of MMA. They're going to start streaming in. Now, they are going to have to contend with this one bunker. Going to be walking right by it, though. Looks like there is space in between, and yes, the Zerglings are able to sneak through. There was space in between there. Unfortunately for MMA, not having that complete wall off, Zerglings streaming right into the main base of MMA, and this is quite an issue right now. He's going to have a very hard time contending with these. Going to want to try to get his guys up in one big clump, his Marines and that Hellion, and try to engage those Zerglings. But no, Zerglings real far to get us around, and the Hellions get dropped. Marines trying to micro away. One Hellion not being able to be microed at the same time as those Marines, and all of the Marines are getting mopped up right now of MMA. Losira in the main base here doing a lot of damage. SCVs trying to pull apart there, trying to get us around on those Zerglings if at all possible. Looks like we do have some droning up action going on over here for Losira, actually, so he is not going to be continuing this engagement. He did do quite a bit of damage. Taking a look there, we can see units lost tab. MMA definitely in a bad position. Again, it looked like he expected this to be a full wall off, but we saw that big opening right here, and those Zerglings were able to stream right in as a result. So unfortunately enough for MMA, because of that, he did take quite significant losses. Let's take a look here at the unit tab. We can see only 18 SCVs as opposed to the 46 drones of Losira. So Losira is, of course, in a much stronger economic position. Looks like he is not going to be expanding quite at the moment. Is finally sending Zerglings on over there to do that, but first he did decide to get this second hatchery at his expansion. Going to be utilizing the extra larva from that. I did see what was looking to be an evolution chamber being dropped down, but instead it looks like Losira is going to be dropping that up there in that position. And here we go, finally whittling away at those rocks. So Losira will in fact be moving into a third at some point in the not too distant future. We do have that evolution chamber, of course. We already spotted that. Also baneling nest coming on through, so it looks like we're going to be seeing some banelings incorporated into the mix, working his way up to layer tech here as well. And once that layer does get up and running, he will of course be able to get the speed for those banelings and work his way up into possibly Muta. I mean, speedling, baneling, Muta, of course, quite a popular composition. Now we can see MMA finally trying to work his way out to expansion. Well, you might ask why he hasn't already moved out. Well, it was because he just wanted to try to resaturate this before he tried to move up. But this is a problem because the speedlings are heading over. We do have that possibility of banelings here as well. Speedlings moving around the bunker. Are they going to try to get us around? No, actually bypassing the bunker, moving into the main, because there is again a wide open hole as MMA tried to move into his expo. He left this huge gaping hole in the front of his main, and the speedlings again once more back in the main base of MMA. MMA trying to pull his SCVs over to the safety of the expansion, get them within range of those Marines, and try to engage as one large group. A big problem right now, though, is even though these Zerglings are not engaging, they are stopping all of this mining right now. The income tab is pretty much not going to be showing much of anything. We can see MMA not mining at all. Those Zerglings just doing a tremendous job of stopping that. Finally, MMA realizing he needs to get some resources. But again, Zerglings here at the expansion as well, going to start doing some damage to this command center. Still dancing around in the main. Finally, Marines are able to mop that up, but not without his losses. He's taken heavy losses. There's continuous Zergling reinforcements. Also working his way up to Aspire. Losira is getting ready for that transition. He has such a strong economic advantage right now. I really do not see how Losira could possibly lose this game at this point. He's just way too far ahead. MMA was looking to drop out for a moment, but no, finally realizing he's going to need those Marines because the Zerglings are coming back into his base. And again, this wide open hole going to allow the Zerglings to continue to stream into the main, and there they go, right back into the main base. I do not know why I popped that up. Right back into the main base, going to start engaging those SCVs. SCVs doing a little trickery there, spreading out and trying to cut back the amount of damage and surround that those Zerglings can do. But you can see again, those Zerglings are just so powerful at ripping through these light units, and Losira killing almost everything right now that MMA has. It does look like he is primed for some reinforcements as well, but there is the GG from MMA. Losira started this game out with a 15 hatch into extractor and pool, while MMA opted to start off with one base, going for some quick Hellions for map control, and then moving into an expansion after that point. MMA was able to get his Hellions inside of the main base of Losira, but didn't end up doing too much economic damage, and he was dancing around the Zerglings for a while, but once they got that metabolic boost and were turned into speedlings, he was actually forced out of the main base of Losira. After dealing with that small force of Hellions, Losira did push out for a counterattack against MMA, and unfortunately for MMA, because of this opening between that command center and these two supply depots, the Zerglings were able to actually run rampant inside of his main base. And this was the beginning of the headache for MMA basically throughout the course of the game. Because that frontal wall-off was just not completed to the full effectiveness, Zerglings were able to continuously run inside of the main of MMA. After that huge advantage of having Zerglings inside of the main of MMA, Losira was able to tech up, working his way up to layer tech, also coming out with a Baneling's Nest, and then besides a hatchery inside of his natural expansion, he also moved into a third. As he was teching up, Losira then decided to push out for a secondary attack and see if he could do any damage, and luckily enough for him, he was able to basically completely surpass that bunker and still roll right into the main, because MMA did have a wall off again with that command center, but when he lifted it off to move into his expansion, it reopened that hole, and the Zerglings once more took advantage of that opportunity, streamed inside of the main of MMA, and just did tremendous amounts of damage. And this continuous Zergling harass inside of the main is actually what forced MMA to just go ahead and call the GG. Alright guys, so there you go. That was game number 1 in the grand finals here between MMA and Losira from MLG Columbus. Now we will be moving into game number 2 in just one moment. And as always guys, if you like the content, please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Keep watching and keep owning.